Chapter 4, Section 5 of Cup of Gold. This is a Librivox recording. All Librivox recordings are in the public domain. For more information or to volunteer, please visit Librivox.org. Read by Kurt from Tucson, Arizona. Cup of Gold by John Steinbeck. Henry Morgan lifted a golden cup from the heap of loot. It was a lovely, slender chalice with long, curved handles and a rim of silver. Around its outer edge, 4 grotesque lambs chased each other, and inside, on the bottom, a naked girl lifted her arms in sensual ecstasy. The captain turned the cup in his hands. Then suddenly he hurled it at a little fiery pyramid of diamonds. The stones scattered from their neat pile with a dry, rustling sound. Henry Morgan turned and went back to his serpent chair. He was thinking of the little Cockney Jones, thinking of the cold hand of epilepsy which had seized him in his last moment of life. The hand had been always behind him, a giant hand to wring the man's body until the white drops of agony oozed from his lips. Henry wondered, now, why he had wanted to hurt the little man, to torture him, and finally to kill him. Jones had been shadowed through all his life by a sleepless tormentor. Of course, this murder had been caused by the words of Kurt Agree, who had said that Jones was like Henry Morgan. Yes, he knew it now, and he knew also a red shame for his trumped charge of thievery. Why could he not have killed the man without explanation? And Kurt Agree, where was he now? He had seen Isobel, that was fairly sure, and she had noticed him. Perhaps she loved Kurt Agree, with his bright hair and his curious way with women. And how could he keep this young man from knowing his defeat, from hearing the adventure of the pin and all the ignominy of Henry Morgan's dealings with La Santa Roja? The pistol which had killed Jones was lying on the floor. Henry picked it up and methodically went to load it. He did not fear ridicule from Kurt Agree, but rather sympathy and understanding. Henry did not want understanding now. His lieutenant would look at him with compassion and some pity, and there would be something superior about the pity, something faintly ironic. It would be the pity of a young, handsome man who condones the amorous failure of one not so handsome. And then, Kurt Agree was something like a woman for knowing things, something like Isobel. He gathered information with a mysterious hidden eye. And the Red Saint. Henry must take her away with him, of course. He could do nothing else. Perhaps after a long time she would fall in love with him, but not, surely, because of merits in himself. Her contempt had convinced him that he had no merits, that he was a monstrous being set apart from other men by unmentionable ugliness. She had not said so much, but she had intimated it. No, he had not the qualities like to draw a woman to his side when there were other men about. But perhaps if she saw no other men, she might ignore the qualities so lacking in him. She might come at last to build on something he possessed. He thought of the last scene with her. Now that he was calm, his wild action seemed the showing off of a thick-legged little boy. But how could any man have done otherwise? She had beaten assault with laughter, sharp, cruel laughter, which took his motives out and made sport of them. He might have killed her, but what man could kill a woman who wanted to be killed, who begged to be killed? The thing was impossible. He rammed a bullet into the muzzle of his pistol. A draggled, unkempt figure came through the doorway. It was Kurt Agree, a red-eyed, mud-spattered Kurt Agree, with the blood of the battle still on his face. He looked at the heap of treasure. "We are rich," he said without enthusiasm. "Where have you been, Kurt Agree?" "Ben? Why, I've been drunk. It is good to be drunk after fighting." He smiled wryly and licked his lips. "It is not so good to stop being drunk. That is like childbirth, necessary, but unpleasant and unornamental." "I wanted you by my side," said Henry Morgan. "You wanted me? I was informed that you wanted no one, that you were quite complete and happy in yourself, and so I got a little drunker. You see, sir, I did not want to remember your reason for being alone." He paused. "It was told me, sir, that the Red Saint is here." Curdigrew laughed at his own ill-concealed emotion. He changed his manner with an effort of will. His tone became jocular. "Tell me the truth, sir. It is a small gift to a man to know what he has missed. Many people have no other gift during their whole lives. Tell me, sir, has the sweet enemy fallen? Has the castle of flesh capitulated? Does the standard of Morgan float over the pink tower?" Henry's face had flushed. The pistol in his hand rose quietly, steadied by an inexorable madness. There was a sharp crash and a white billow of smoke. Curdigrew stood as he was. He seemed to be intently listening to some distant throbbing sound. Then a grimace of terror spread on his face. His fingers frantically explored his breast and followed a trickle of blood to its source, a small hole in his lung. The little finger edged into the hole. Curdigrew smiled again. He was not afraid of certain things, now that he knew he was not frightened any more. Captain Morgan stared stupidly at the pistol in his hand. He seemed surprised to discover it there, startled at its presence. Curdigrew laughed hysterically. "My mother will hate you," he cried ruefully. "She will practice all her ancient curses upon you. My mother," he choked over his breath. "Do not tell her. Make some gleaming lie. Build my poor life up to a golden minaret. Do not let it stop like a half-finished tower. But no, you need build only a foundation. If you give her that, she will continue the structure of heroic memory. She will make for me a tomb of white, inaccurate thoughts." His throat filled with blood. "Why did you do it, sir?" The captain looked up from his pistol. "Do it?" He saw the bloody lips, the torn breast. He started up from his chair and then fell back again. Misery was writing lines about his eyes. "I do not know," he said. "I must have known, but I've forgotten." Curdigrew went slowly to his knees. He steadied himself with his knuckles on the floor. "It is my knees, sir. They will not bear me any more," he apologized. He seemed to be listening for the throbbing sound again. Suddenly his voice rose in bitter complaint. "It is a legend that dying men think of their deeds done. No, no, I think of what I have not done, of what I might have done in the years that are dying with me. I think of the lips of women I have never seen, of the wine that is sleeping in a grapeseed, of the quick warm caress of my mother in Goave. But mostly I think that I shall never walk about again, never stroll in the sunshine nor smell the rich essences the full moon conjures up out of the earth. Sir, why did you do it?" Henry Morgan was staring at the pistol again. "I do not know," he muttered sullenly. "I must have known, but I've forgotten. I killed a dog once, and I have just killed Jones. I do not know why." "You are a great man, Captain," Curdigrew said bitterly. "Great men may leave their reasons for the creative hands of their apologists. But why, sir, I am nothing any more, nothing. A moment ago I was an excellent swordsman, but now my being, that which fought and cursed and loved, it may never have been for all I know." His wrists weakened, and he fell to his side and lay there coughing at the obstruction in his throat. Then for a time there was no sound in the room save his uneven gasping for breath. But suddenly he raised himself on one elbow and laughed at some cosmic joke, some jest of the great rolling spheres. laughed triumphantly as though he had solved a puzzle and found how simple it was. A wave of blood rode to his lips on the laughter and filled up his throat. The laugh became a gushing sigh, and Curtigree sank slowly to his side and was still, because his lungs would no longer force breath. Henry still stared at the pistol in his hand. Slowly he raised his eyes to the open window. The streaming rays of the sun made the treasure on the floor glow like a mass of hot metal. His eyes wandered to the body in front of him. He shuddered, and then he went to Curtigree, picked him up, and sat him in a chair. The limp body fell over to one side. Henry straightened it and braced it in an upright position. Then he went back to his serpent chair. "I raised my hand like this," he said, pointing the pistol at Curtigree. "I raised my hand like this. I must have. Curtigree is dead. Like this I raised it, like this, and pointed. How did I do it?" He bowed his head, then raised it with a chuckle. "Curtigree," he said. "Curtigree, I wanted to tell you about La Santa Roja. She rides horses, you know. She has no womanly modesty at all, none at all, and her looks are only moderate." He peered at the propped figure before him. The eyes of Curtigree had been only half closed, but now the lids slipped down and the eyes began to sink back in his head. On his face was the frozen distortion of his last bitter laughter. "Curtigree!" the captain shouted. He went quickly to the body and laid his hand on its forehead. "This is a dead thing," he said musingly. "This is only a dead thing. It will bring flies and the sickness. I must have it taken away at once. It will bring the flies into this room. Curtigree, we have been fooled. The woman fences like a man, and she rides horses astride. So much labor lost for us. That's what we get for believing everything we hear, eh, Curtigree? But this is only a dead thing, and the flies will come to it." He was interrupted by a tramp of feet on the stair. A band of his men entered, driving in their midst a poor frightened Spaniard, a mud-draggled, terrified Spaniard. The lace had been torn from his neck, and a little stream of blood ran from one sleeve. "Here's a Spaniard, sir," the leader said. "He came to the city bearing a white flag. Shall we respect the white flag, sir? He has silver on his saddle. Shall we kill him, sir? Perhaps he is a spy." Henry Morgan ignored the speech. Instead, he pointed to the body in the chair. "That is only a dead thing," he announced. "That is not Curtigree. I sent Curtigree away. He will be back soon, but that is—" I raised my hand like this, do you see? Like this. I know exactly how I did it. I have tried it again and again, but that is a dead thing. It will bring the flies to us," he cried. "Oh, take it away and bury it in the earth." A buccaneer moved to lift the body. "Don't touch him! Don't dare to touch him! Leave him where he is. He is smiling. Do you see him smile? But the flies. No, leave him. I will care for him myself." "The Spaniard, sir. What shall we do with him? Shall we kill him?" "What Spaniard?" "Why, this one before you, sir." He shoved the man forward. Henry seemed to awaken from a deep dream. "What do you want?" he asked harshly. The Spaniard struggled with his fright. It is my wish and the wish of my padrone to have speech with one Captain Morgan, if he will have the goodness. I am a messenger, senor, not a spy, as these gentlemen suggest." "What is your message?" Henry's voice had become weary. The messenger took reassurance from his changed tone. "I come from one man very rich, senor. You have his wife?" "I have his wife?" "She was taken in the city, senor." "Her name?" "She is the Doña Isabel Espinosa Valdez y los Gavilanes, senor. The simple people of the city have called her La Santa Roja." Henry Morgan regarded him for a long time. "Yes, I have her," he said finally. "She is in a cell. What does her husband wish?" "He offers ransom, senor. He has reason to wish his wife with him again." "What ransom does he offer?" What would your excellency suggest? 20,000 pieces of 8, Henry said quickly. The messenger was staggered. 20,000, 20,000, he translated fully to comprehend the enormity of the amount. I perceive that your excellency also wants the woman. Henry Morgan looked at the body of Curdigris. No, he said, I want the money. Now the messenger was relieved. He had been prepared to think this great man a great idiot. I will do what may be done, Signor. I will come back to you in 4 days. In 3. But if I do not arrive, Signor? If you do not arrive, I shall take the Red Saint away with me and sell her in the slave docks. I shall strive, Signor. Give him courtesy, the captain commanded. Do not mistreat him in any way. He is to bring us gold. As they were leaving, one man turned back and let his eyes lovingly caress the treasure. When is the division to be, sir? In Chagres, fool. Do you think I would divide it now? But, sir, we would like to be having a bit of it in our hands for the feel of it, sir. We have fought hard, sir. Get out. You'll have none of it in your hands until we come to the ships again. Do you think I want you throwing it to the women here? Let the Guave women get it from you. The men went out of the hall of audience, grumbling a little. End of Chapter 4, Section 5.